WT slaying.
Salama family, Salama, how y'all doing today? I hope you're blessed and highly favored. Today we have the arrival with us. We have Brother Kenny and his wife Terry. How y'all doing today?
Hey, we're doing wonderful, blessed and highly favored, brother.
We're doing good.
Doing good.
Can you all tell us where you're from originally?
You want to go ahead and answer that?
I am originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, actually Stilton, Pennsylvania, but it's all same place, same area. Yeah.
So recently you all decided to make the move back to the continent. Can you tell us why?
Well, I'll let you go ahead and start that. What's your reasoning for it?
Okay, for me, it was because of what's been going on in the United States for Black people. Seeing all the deaths that were happening so consecutively, people being hung on trees, which I never heard of since I was a child. We haven't heard of such a thing. And then all of a sudden there was like 3 in a month. They found people hung from trees, and then when the officers are going to court for the different things, they're being suspended with pay, or they're being
killing people.
Yeah, for killing people, and they're being forgiven, and there's like no justice system for the Black Americans. And I just got fed up with that, and in seeing that our ancestors were brought over to America on slave ships, I think we kind of grew up, we were settled there because our parents and our grandparents, and in a country that was never for us. We came there as slaves, and one day it just hit me that, hey, this is not my home. I came here and just kind of got comfortable because this is where my parents chose to stay. But I figured that while we were relatively young, let's go back to the motherland.
Yes.
And that's my reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both came to the conclusion that it was time to come back, to Africa. We're actually, we've been studying a lot, doing a lot of research, and we woke up to the fact that who we are as Hebrew Israelites. We are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we know that this is the first land that was ever created, And after doing my research, it's been, extensive, which is, I'm not going to get into all of it, but after listening to brothers like you and other brothers on YouTube, and as they would explain certain things, and we just decided that it's time to come to Africa. It's time to come on back to our homeland, because the system that we were in was never designed for us. Mm-hmm. That system is a system that, was given by colonists, those who would like to enslave our minds and our bodies. And they still do it every day. And we decided that we want to come back and learn of our true heritage, because I found out there's a lot of the Hebrews, the ancient Hebrews, who I believe migrated to this area and other areas in Africa. So we just wanted to be back here on the continent. So, we'll be ready. It's even closer. I mean, I could have stayed in America, but this is closer.
Yeah. So do you all have any children?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
We have 7 children between the both of us. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what did they say when you all told them you were moving to the continent?
Go ahead. Say your.
Well, my son is wanting to come. My daughter is like, no way, I'm not coming to Africa. No, no way, no how. And because she believes the narrative that they fed us. But I believe when she sees how we're living and when she sees the pictures, that she will soon be coming.
Yeah, and my children really haven't had much to say. Just a couple of them. One of them has actually commented on just have be safe. But other than that, they really haven't had much to say. I don't know if they're ever going to want to come to Africa. I pray they do. But all you can do is instruct and keep praying and show the way.
Right.
That's why we're here, because we show the way to not only our children but to everyone that wants to come. So we keep praying for them, and hopefully they'll join us one day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your awakening to being Israelites?
Yeah. You want to go? How did you happen?
For me, how did it happen? I think
It started a long time ago, didn't it?
I think for me it happened when
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 summers ago, we were going to Baltimore a lot, and in Baltimore there's the Hebrew Israelites that are out down by the harbor, and they were speaking. And I was like, wow, I like what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but they're talking with so much hate, and every time like a white person would walk by, they were screaming out, like negative stuff to the white people. I said, now if they were speaking in love, like I could get on board with everything they're saying. So the one brother spoke to me, and he gave me a couple scriptures, and I went home and I read Deuteronomy 28. And when I read Deuteronomy 28, and we know that most Black people are born in the church, and we know the scripture at the beginning of Deuteronomy: we're blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed when we come, when we go. Yeah. But I never heard the second part of it. Yeah. And when I read that whole chapter that night, it's like a light bulb went off. And I was like, oh my God, Kenny, you see this? And we read it again, and just tears began to fall down my eyes, because the Lord showed me who I was. And he showed me that that I am Israel. I'm a child of, I come from the line of Judah. And that was how it happened for me. And it was beautiful. And after that, God just began to continue to show us through so many different ways and so many different things. And here we are. We're just, continuing on with our journey. That's how it happened for me.
Yeah. I think we both kind of went along the same journey, same path. And after, we started hearing about, the different scriptures in the Bible about, Jeremiah, where, the Hebrews were likened unto the ground. The scripture in Solomon where it talks about that he was black as the tent of Kedar. And where it started actually bringing to our attention, because I always thought I was a Gentile, and I always thought I was a Gentile from what I, would hear in the teachings that I grew up with. But then after I realized I'm not a Gentile, I said, there's got to be something going on here, So I started doing my research and looking in the word and finding out the truth of who Shem was, who Ham was, and who Japheth was. And then I would search on the YouTube, like a lot of us do, I guess. And I ran across a couple brothers that really inspired me. And that was Ron Dalton, Benaiah Israel, and Stephen Darby's ministry. And so, just started listening and comparing it to the word, and when you compare it to the word and you start seeking truth, then the Most High will reveal to you that which you need to know by his spirit. So that's how I started coming into the truth. And we both started listening every day, and just, then we said we're going to stop going on Sunday, and we're going to honor the Sabbath. And that was another thing, because I actually was licensed as a minister in the church, and I would preach and preach and preach. But the shifting from going on Sunday to Saturday, it kind of like, had ripples with some I guess small ripples, not big, but you know what I mean. It changed a lot of our outgoing, how we would go. So we just started honoring the Sabbath, and we would stay home, and then we started a little gathering together. But the awakening, it started over. It was a period of time of just praying, studying, fasting, and seeking truth. And that's how it goes. If you do that, then He will. If you seek, you will find. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Benaiah Israel's stuff. He like his latest thing about Yaya Negro and the Raw House of David. I'm like, he does some very good work. I really like that brother.
Yeah, yeah.
So lately, I noticed the majority of people who have awakened, who have gone to the continent, are usually not believers, right? And most of them have gone to, either Kemet or ancestor worship or atheism. But yet, our history, if they look into it, historically is Israelites. Have you run across any who are of those beliefs and had any conversations with them about who we really are?
Oh, all the time. Everyone we meet, we, laced with grace and love, we tell them we're the people, and try to share with them. Even you would strike up the conversation as to how different religions and different things that brought our people into captivity still exist today, and how slavery had actually brought submission by religions, and not only in America, in UK, but here on the continent as well, because of the colonialism. So when you look at the different Arab trade, slave trade, and transatlantic slave trade, they introduced religions that would bring people to submit to something other than what they were actually designed to submit to. And so we conversate on those levels, and when it's like everyone's just existing. I kind of see it almost here like everyone's existing together.
So one of the people I like out there is the Bag family, and I like Rick and Sweet Juicy Mama.
Yeah,
the reason why I like them is because they are what you see is what you get, right? I like real people. I know you all met them. What was your experience with them?
I think that they were just the way they are on when you see them on YouTube. They were kind and they were funny, and it just felt like we knew them already. They were really, really nice and just seemed like really good people and down to earth. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they were. Rick was fun. Rick's a funny guy. I enjoy his company. Every time we're around them, we just have fun. We just laugh. Yeah, and they're really good people. And they helped us already in certain areas. And I think they're genuinely good people. With good hearts.
Yeah. And that's my thing. I personally think they're going to awaken to who they are. And I know how it is when you've been hurt by religion, because, really all we grow up in is religion, right? We don't know about the true relationship with the Most High until He awakens us. But, I can see it. And the reason why I believe that is because they are, in my opinion, truthful people, right? And they're honest people. And when you're an honest person, God is going to wake you up. The Most High is going to wake you up, right?
Yes, that's so true, so true. And
Go
ahead. That's one of the things that we found out when we first got here. People know who you are. When they meet you, when you come on the continent, they know who you are. Tell them about the taxi driver that we first met. Ramadi, what he said about the. He knew who we were, hearts. How he said he sees us with a clean heart. Yeah. Well, anyway, he said that. He said, "You people have clean hearts. You have clean hearts," and he just came out and said it. He said, "You're good people. You have clean hearts."
Well, that's one of the things I noticed with you all too when I saw you all for the first time. That's what struck me, once again, honest people, with loving spirits, right? I think I have a discerning spirit, and that's what I saw with you all as well. When it when it comes to the plan of Rick and Sweet Juicy Mama building the bag place for the diaspora, or do you all have plans like that? What is your plans since you've moved back to the Gambia?
Go ahead. You want to answer?
Well, initially, we were coming here to just be retired and to build our house and just live our life out. We really didn't have like a major plan. We knew that we were going to probably have to do some kind of business. But when we came here, we brought some stuff from home and gave to the children. And when we were distributing that stuff, the Lord really spoke to my heart and Kenny's heart. And I would like to keep that going. So I would like to create a ministry for the children. And I don't know what that consists of, but we are just going to be led by the Spirit. So in about a month, we're going to do that again. We're going to give. And as He leads us, that's going to grow into what it's going to grow into. And right now, I don't even have a name for that. Plus, in addition to that, we want to sell cheesesteaks, Philadelphia cheesesteaks, to make some money for ourselves. Yes.
That sounds good. Cheesesteaks?
Yeah.
And as far as the building aspect, yes, we do. We've already acquired our land, and we're waiting for our paperwork to come in. And then once it comes in, I am a builder. I'm a carpenter, from way back. So, and I have built before in the past. So, we have a lot of, skills in that area. So we're going to build on our land. We're going to build our house out there. And one of our videos shows where it's at, And so that's our plan. We're right now, we have our compound. We're renting a compound and, just setting up everything that we're going to do. Once the rainy season stops, and then we can really move forward with our plans to build. Mm-hmm.
So Kenny, do you think you'd open up a construction company? Because one thing I noticed out there from watching various videos, I haven't at least seen from the videos a solid company that you go to the Gambia and say, you know what, I want to build a house, and that house is going to be built according to certain criteria and standards, right? So since you have that background, have you thought about doing that? Because I think that would be invaluable.
Yeah, well, I think it's something that has crossed my mind, but at this moment, I haven't thought about actually a company. I think more on the lines of training, more training our brothers and our sisters here, with what I have, because my thought is that, I could start a company, start, building this, that. But I think if you empower the people with the knowledge that you have, then they can start building it correctly. Not correctly, don't get me wrong, because the way they build here, I love it. It's solid, but it's just not the way we build in the States. And I've been learning how they build here, because it's like this to me. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'll just put rubber on the wheel if I can. And, I have commercial building and I have residential building experience. And I want to, train the young guys how to do commercial building, and share with what I know in residential building, because I believe the great wealth that I came from, if you would say Egypt or Babylon, is what I acquired there. Now I can bring it home, and not to make, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands. We're going to make our means, and that way we're going to be able to help them to, I guess you could say, fish and eat for a lifetime instead of fishing for them.
Yeah, I really like that idea. That's a great idea. One of the issues I saw, and you can tell me, what you think about it, is that since they build with concrete and with the stone blocks,
Mm-hmm.
I know they got another word for it, but that when you build with just those blocks, that moisture can build up behind the wall and you can't see it. Neither can you really treat it because they have those holes in it with those
Mm-hmm.
concrete blocks, and so
Yeah.
moisture builds up. And I was watching one of the videos of Rick and Sweet Juicy Mom, and they were talking about how they came to the States, and when they returned back to Gambia, they had mold all over the place. And
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that seems to be the case with a lot of these buildings out there. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they have a lot of different ways to deal with that. I know when you build in a foundation here, you use the different mortars with that. They're like the water resistant that you would do, like your parging, around the basement of a house. You put the water resistant concrete on, and then you put on the tar, which covers it. And then they have dry lock as well. There's different ways that you can deal with it. It's just that it's not here to actually implement. You have to import it, or if you have the means to start a factory to make it, but there are ways that you can block the moisture from getting into the block if you were to say. It's just that, you have to get the proper means on how to do it and cover the top of it so it doesn't go in. Dry lock it, however you would do it. And dry lock is, you know what dry lock is, right? You paint it on the brick, or you waterproof it, so to speak. It's like you waterproof a basement. You waterproof a basement. Yeah. Or you can trench around the bottom and have, there's a number of ways where you can treat the moisture that would build up in the block,
Or you can. What's gonna happen is you're gonna get a lot of calls after this, and they're gonna be like, "I need some help with my house." You're gonna be like, "I'm busy. I'm busy."
No, not busy. I'm retired. No, I mean, I don't have a problem in advising. If that's the whole thing. That's what we have. We have that wealth to share, and the expertise to share. So when any one of us comes back here, you'd be surprised what you have to offer, because that's, I believe, is a part of the great wealth, and that you're going to be bringing out in this second move, this second exodus, if you would call it that. Everyone's looking for money, to be gold, diamonds, and people are wealth. So when you get your, knowledge that you have, and you share it with your brothers and teach your brothers, each one teach one, and bring them to the place where they need to be, up to the same place you are, then they can go out and teach someone else, and not take advantage of them with what and keep from them. And I think that's the mindset there should be when any diaspora comes back here. You sure you're going to have a business, of course, but bring what you have learned to teach.
And that's what I believe everyone has in their hearts, because I hear that from a lot of the people who are returning to help build up the continent, right? I literally think that this was the Most High's plan, right? And we talked about this, me, Minister Teyu, Sister E, about how our skill set is of value as well. So leaving here with great substance, that is a value as well. And I think, we're going to build a Wakanda, right? Because here's the thing. Most of our people invented this stuff anyway, right? We didn't get credit for it, but we built most of this stuff. So you can imagine what happens when we go back, and whatever we invent is not going to destroy the earth. And whatever we use, is going to be in harmony with nature, right? And I think that's going to be the difference, because America really has poisoned its water, poisoned its air, poisoned its food. But yet the continent, we're going to stay organic, right? The continent, we're not going to have all this GMO stuff. And that's why I say when Judah returns, right? When we return, everything's going to change. And here's the other thing. And I know some people say that
this changing.
and I think a lot of people might disagree with this. Have you heard of Art Kathy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people disagree with her because she's a little bit raw, but I understand where her heart is. Her heart is to help people fix the issues, right? And I think that when they, if people stop and listen to what she's saying, those things need to be fixed, right? And when they're fixed, you're going to be a better nation. You're going to be a better people. And so, I can get past the rawness, right? Because I understand where she's coming from. And I think when the diaspora returns, we will bring those skill sets and those things that are, let's say, not handled well are going to be handled well. And I think also that let me ask you this question too, because I keep hearing a lot about this. So some YouTubers talk about pedophilia and all this stuff going on in the Gambia and people coming from Europe and messing with the kids. Is that true, or is that, just, it happens, but it's not really a pandemic, let's say?
Yes.
Well, I think it's true. And right now we're here. Tourist season really hasn't begun, but even today we went to the beach, and what was the name of the beach?
Oh, I can't remember. I really don't. That was just one of the ones we stopped by.
Yeah, we were on the beach today, and as we were approaching the beach, we saw an older white man. He looked like he might have been maybe 67, maybe 70, or maybe even older, with a young black woman, and she looked like she might have been.
She was younger. She wasn't a little baby child.
She wasn't a baby, but she looked like she wasn't 21 yet.
Yeah.
She was a teenager. She looked like a teenager, and it just did something to me, and I was just like, something. Something. I just wanted to go over there and talk to her.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we were with some friends that came from the UK, and they were on the beach yesterday, and they saw an older white man with a child. They said that could not have been 3 years old, no more than 3 years old, and just walking down the beach like if it was, and so it's true.
I'm sure it exists, but
it's true.
That's, we've seen it a couple times, but it just makes your blood boil, because I see my children, and today I'm gonna tell you, I walked by, I was praying, and I was like, and the man had a dog, and I had to growl at him. It's just growl at them and keep walking, and I'm saying it makes no sense for them to actually come over and, do what they do, as far as taking advantage of our young people, from Europe as it's a playground or something like that, and that's where I think addressing it mano a mano, one-on-one at the time you see it, you ain't got to get belligerent. You don't have to get indignant. You just address it with a stern, open rebuke, if you would call it, because open rebuke does good. You just have to be wise how you do what you do, but speak the truth, because, hey, something that can't go on, because me, myself, righteous indignation rises in me when I see stuff like that. And I have to say something. So,
yeah.
And we were told it's going to be a lot more, but once tourist opens up. So outside of that, we haven't seen any other what we saw today, maybe because it's still early in the season, I guess.
So maybe once the diaspora returns in numbers, we have to make sure that we influence the government, right? And that has to be part of our plan as we unite, because I do believe that, if there look, we know how we've been abused. We're not going to allow them to be abused once we return. And so, when I look at our people over there, I find our people to be, like, for instance, I always said that our people are sheep, right? Now, that's not a bad thing, because, a sheep needs a shepherd. But sometimes the sheep don't know the wolves when the wolves are in sheep clothing. And so us being here, growing up in the States, we can recognize a wolf in sheep's clothing. So when we go back, we say, look, you don't see that wolf? He's in sheep's clothing. And it's like, they're like, nah, he's a sheep. Let him come in, because that's how people are, very friendly. And they allow everybody in and they get abused, right? Yeah. So I do think that, when we go back, we need to make sure that we have some type of influence within the politics so that we can say, look, this needs to change. And guess what? Money makes things change.
That's where the problem lies, I believe.
I think that it's not going to be with the government though,
Yeah.
because the government is a part of it. I think that it's going to be with the people because I mean, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
The people, the Gambian people are very docile and they're very friendly and very calming and welcoming, like you said. And unlike us, they were not in a system
that they were taught to see it. Yeah,
they were not in a system where they had to share with the white man and be oppressed with racism because it was all black here.
Yeah.
So when the white man came, he came bearing gifts and he came as a savior or as a god to them. So what I see so far, they look to the white man as he's something special. So it's not the government. I think it's like it's a whole systematic thing.
Yeah.
So I think that when Kenny and I are walking or going someplace and we see these couples, they can tell we're not from Gambia. And they look at us like, oh no, like we're doing something wrong, which the Gambian people just overlook them like it's nothing. But when they see us, they're like, oh wow, like they want to hide or something. So I think once the diaspora come, then we will run them out because we know their game. We were like next door neighbors with them. You know what I mean? Like we know them. So I think that the people is going to make the difference
that's
and
true.
not the government. That's my opinion.
I was talking to the brother today, as we walked, and I just wanted him to express his views as well because I address it. I'm up right there, and I'm like, "Did you see that? What do you think about that?" I don't like it, is what he said. And I said, neither do I. I said, so there's something that has to be done. I said, the only thing is nobody's saying anything. Everybody's saying they don't like it, but nobody's saying anything. And the reason that they're not saying anything is because of economics. It's a serious situation because that's the bread and butter, and a lot of, times you got to realize that when you're in a situation where you're hungry, when you need food, it's not an excuse, but it's the real, and you have to deal with that. Whereas we can bring jobs and bring, a different economic system, whereas everyone will be able to make the means that they need to provide for their families, to take care of their, their farms or whatever. And then we can, get rid of that, that entity that has crept in and, seeing the plight and taking advantage of, based upon the how do you say, the economic system.
Yes.
So that's where we're moving with it to talk to our brothers, talk to them. Look, this, somebody got to do something about this. You can't have this keep going. So just in love, and true, the government has a lot to do with it. But, it's really going to be the people. It's the mindset of the people. Just like in America, it's the mindset of the people. The narrative has been given them. And
we just have to make it uncomfortable for them when they come.
That's the key.
That's what
there we go.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because believe it or not, the government kind of like, I'm not going to say they promote it, but they tolerate it because these Europeans bring a lot of money to the Gambia.
It's the real. They do. So with that being said, like you said, we got to make them uncomfortable.
Make it uncomfortable. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's the key because, and then when we make it uncomfortable, we also bring back, like some ways for them to generate income.
Yes.
So that's not even a factor, you can't take advantage of it anymore because they do it. It's done all over the world. You see someone poor, they don't have money. So you're going to try to take advantage of them however you can.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but true.
Well, I don't think they're going to like when we return. And that's why they're scared because we're going to make things uncomfortable. And we're going to be like, hey,
we know who you are.
Yeah, we know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be like, see, the devil don't like the light. He like the darkness.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Yeah, you turn on the light, the roaches run.
Yeah, they scatter. Yeah. So, prophetically speaking, how do you all see the return of all of our people? So, I did a show yesterday that has the second Exodus already begun. What's your thoughts on it?
You want to go ahead on that?
Well, my thoughts are yes, it has begun. God has I think it's been done a while ago, that he's been calling his people. In Ezekiel 28 is a good verse that I would like to read if I can. Can I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
It says in Ezekiel 28, it says, "Thus says the Lord God, when I gather the house of Israel from the peoples among whom they are scattered, and manifest my holiness in them in the sight of the nations, then they shall dwell in their own land that I gave to my servant Jacob, and they shall dwell securely in it, and they shall build houses and plant vineyards. They shall dwell securely when I execute judgment upon all their neighbors who have treated them with contempt. Then will I know that I am the Lord their God." So that scripture to me is saying that God has already started calling his people home. He has already started, because there's so many people here and so many people who are leaving.
All the places, Brazil,
they're leaving everywhere.
Jamaica,
They're
the
coming.
islands, coming back. Yeah.
They are coming home. I have never met so many people from so many different places. And they're saying that they just felt to come home, like, where they were at was no longer, they couldn't tolerate it anymore.
Yeah.
That they felt to get out. And I believe that God is calling his people. And it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be like everyone leaving at one time. When you start calling, and it, like when you're a parent and your kids are outside playing, and you might have 5 kids, and you're like yelling for your kids to come home because the lights are going down. They don't all come into the house at the same time, because one might be a block away, one might be next door.
And you know what happens when they don't.
When they hear that voice, they start coming. Everybody hears a voice at a different time. So I believe that is happening. And
when the street light come on, right?
That when God calls.
No,
I'm saying, I pray that people are being sensitive, and that they're hearing they're hearing God, and not thinking like, is this me? Is this me just saying I want to go? Is this me? Because God is speaking always, and it's time for us to listen to what He is saying, because He has already spoken and He is speaking, and it's a continual thing, and I think it already has begun. Yes,
I agree. I agree with that, because the reason why I say that is because when He spoke to us, to our hearts, and we heard, and we didn't question to the degree that should I or should I not. It's like, that's it. We got to make plans. We got to go. We saw the different handwritings on the wall, if you would say, how they would actually build a wall, not to keep people out, but to keep us in. Number one, how they would plan to shut the borders down after the 400-year of return began, and say there's something going on now. These are the same ones that conspired against our people from way back. And, these nations have conspired, and we know the word says so, because we are the people. They know who we are. So if they have to plan something this, systematic, to stop us from coming, what's going on. So I say, it's a part of the move of the Most High, speaking to the hearts of people. The hearts of men and women, and he who has an ear, let him hear. And I'm just saying, that's what we did. We heard, we moved, and we're here. And ever since we've been here, we made the necessary plans to have a place to stay, that kind of thing. But our plans was whatever His perfect will is, not His permissive will, but His perfect will is for us. When we get here, it shall happen. And ever since we've been here, we didn't reach out to anyone. We didn't reach out to, try to get, let's meet this YouTuber, let's meet that person. No, we're just coming to learn. And believe it or not, we've been running into other people that, other YouTubers, and it's just been happening like that. We've just been running into people. It's like it's a string that we have that we can't even see.
The funny thing is, I think a lot of times, and I would tell some of my listeners, that you can't put the Most High in a box, right? Because we don't know exactly how He's going to accomplish what He says is going to happen. And like for me, I would watch all of these people going back to the continent. Now, I think we all are similar in age. And growing up, we didn't see anything near this, right? I'm like, nobody was talking about going to the continent.
No.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm watching older people, younger people. I forgot the young girl over there in Tanzania. She's like 19, went on her own. And you can't ignore this drive and this call to return to the continent as being something of your own. And not only are our people going back, you know what they're saying? We're going back to help our people there. We're going back to build up. And then there's this righteous indignation when the Mzungus go against our people. And we like, nah, you can't do that no more, right? And so I'm looking at our people and I'm like, nah, this is God. I'm like, look at what's happening, right? Yeah. And so some of our people want to wait for the mass exodus when everybody's leaving, and we're going to be leaving crying with tears and saying, which way to Zion? Where the other ones, like you all, had decided, you know what? God called me, the Most High called me and told me to go back. You know what? I don't have to flee crying, right? I don't have to cry, right? So you already left. And that was the funny thing. I couldn't really balance the scriptures that tell us to flee with the scriptures that talks about the mass exodus, right? And I'm like, it's both, you know, and I'm seeing that, right? And I'm seeing people like you all saying, you know what? It's time to go. I have confirmation. Look, like for me, I'm a plan the next year or two to get out. That's my plan. And I talked to my wife about it, and, you know, hopefully it manifests. I know my mother's not going to like it, you know? But let me ask you all a question. So a lot of people wants to know, when you do decide to leave and return to the continent, how much money do you need, and you know how difficult it is to, you know, get the correct visa, and do you need to get vaccinated? But that's one of my things. I'm not getting vaccinated. Wherever I gotta go, they're not jabbing me with anything.
Nothing. Yeah, and that's $1 million question. Number one, did you want to answer that? Or
you can answer it.
Yeah, with the finances, you know, we heard to start saving about a year before we left. We just started putting away from when we got paid in the drawer, just saving, you know. And we tried. Our goal was to be able to have a place when we first got here for the short term, to look for a place that we could rent for a year, and to have land so that we can build while we're in the rental place while we're here. So when we're done, we'll be in that place that is paid for. And that's what our plan, and we calculated how much that would cost to do it, okay? And then we calculated how much it would cost the biggest thing was shipping everything. We wanted to ship everything and take a 40-foot container, you know, but at the end, you know, what was more important, you know, that we would want to have over here with us to make it comfortable. So when you look at that financial aspect, it all depends on what you want to do. Some people retire with, you know, $100,000. Some people retire with $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. You know, you got to calculate everything. Sit down, weigh the costs. This is the wisdom of the matter. You know, you can't just say, I'm going to do. You still sit down. You got to buy plane tickets. And the visa, that was another thing. We actually drove to DC to the embassy to meet the gentleman to get the visa, because we wanted to have it in our hand when we got here, and not, you know, because we heard you can get it when you get here. Now, there varies from country to country. Whatever country you're going to go to, do your research, find out what, you know, they have in place for you. You know, visas. I know in Ghana you need a yellow fever shot. You know, take your malaria pills. The countries, there's 54 of them. And I like it the way my wife says about that. What do you say about that, about the mansion? Go ahead, Sally, what you say.
Africa is a mansion with many, many rooms.
Many rooms. Yeah. And these rooms have different rules, I guess you would say, for you to enter. So you just got to check out what country you want to go to. And what's required. And we narrowed it down to the Gambia because we were going to go to Ghana. And after we, you know, looked into it and how it was going to fit into our plans, that's how we decided. So with all those questions that you said, how much money do you need?
As much as you can,
as you can say. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not a set thing, you know. And don't just get locked in on I don't have enough. You know, plan for it. You plan for everything else. We plan for everything. We'll go to McDonald's or any of the other places, you know, and spend what? How much? You know, for what? Nothing. Save that. Sacrifice that. Would you know, and your body will feel better too. You know, there's a lot of things that you can cut back on and put it in your drawer. If you really want it, whatever you want, you're going to go for it.
Yes.
And that's the attitude we had. Nothing's going to stop us. We're going to save. We're going to discipline ourselves to do so, to get out. And by the grace of the Most High, when we made that step, he started showing more favor and blessing us, didn't he? I mean, blessings were coming that we had no idea, you know, that were there. But he made room. He opened doors. And it's been a learning experience. And our faith, that's the first thing you have to understand. You have to have faith that he will never leave you nor forsake you.
Yes.
And you know, that's what I was thinking in terms of, like, you know, maybe you don't have the money right now, but maybe you can you know, plan enough to get there. And some people say, well, there's no jobs, don't come for jobs, come to build a business. Well, sometimes you don't have enough to build that business, so you may need a job. And so maybe that can be part of your plan, right? You can go somewhere where you can get a job and build that business while you're working or something like that. Because, you know, like, based upon a lot of people's different situations, they may not have enough money to relocate there and, you know, buy a house and do all these things. So there's other ways to do it, you know. And I heard someone say, no, there are jobs, right? But they're for certain skill sets, right? So, you know, if you have those skill sets, you may be able to get a job and do it that way if you don't have enough, you know, what they call it, disposable income.
Yes. Right. And I like to sing a song, you know, that I always sing when it comes to doing things, you know, and I don't know how many people know it. It's a simple song, and there's a hole in my bucket. You ever hear that song?
No, I haven't.
There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. You ever hear that?
I haven't heard that.
And then he says, there's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. And then she says, then fix it, dear Georgie, dear Georgie. She says, with what shall I fix it? He said, with the knife. I mean, with the straw. He said, but the straw is too long. Then she says, well, cut it. And then she says, with what shall I cut it? With the knife. But the knife is too dull. Well, sharpen it. With what shall I sharpen it? With the stone. But the stone is too dry. Then wet it. With what shall I wet it? With water. But there's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. In other words, if he'd have sat down and thought about it all the way from the end to the beginning, to that point of understanding that, you know, there's always going to be an obstacle, you know, and there's always a hole in the bucket. But the thing about it is, you can fix it if you sit down and think about it before you get there. And truly, there's nothing you can't do. You know, the Most High has given you everything pertaining to him. He's given you all. That's what I say. There's nothing I can do, because I have infinite wisdom as I'm connected to him through the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. And he's the counselor of counselors. So therefore, there's nothing we can't do. Ask him. Seek. He'll tell you, because that's what he's here. He's the comforter. He leads you into all truths. Whatever the matter may be, that's how I live. That's how we live. So you live like that. You have the same thing. So don't say that you can't, because you can. You can do all things. There's nothing that you can't do through Yeshua. Everything that he has given you, he's given you so that you can move in the way that he designed. So that's why I sing that song, you know. And it's a little offbeat, but the truth is, if you sit down and think about the steps that you have to take, then you get to the point where you have at the end that you are already there and you can get it done, if that made sense.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I like that. And, you know, I think, too, a lot of people are like me, because they want to just sort of drop everything and go, right? When really you can plan your way. Now, if the Most High is calling you to return, then he's going to make provision, right? And he's going to order your steps. So all you got to do is walk in it, right? And so a lot of people say, I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. Well, he's going to make provision. Start moving towards it, and doors will open.
Yes.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So let me ask you, in terms of your YouTube channel, can you tell everyone how they can find you, and if they need to contact you, you know, if you're working with people, you know, like what's your WhatsApp number, your email address, things like that.
Okay. All right. WhatsApp, our email number is actually, or not number, but our email is thearrival20@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel is The Arrival. Yeah, and so with the WhatsApp, we're in the process of changing over the number, so we'll have that listed once it's done. That's, you know, if you want to get in touch with us, that's who we are. We're on there as The Arrival. And that was even given to us as we prayed for that. And that just came to us, The Arrival, you know, and that in itself, this whole YouTube channel is something else too. Yeah.
So family, I want you all to support them. Go to their channel, subscribe, help get their numbers up. And I want to thank you, Kenny and Terry, for coming on. It was really enlightening. And I really like your spirit and personality. And I like to have you on again in the future as I, you know, continue to watch you all and see your journey.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, we really appreciate it, brother.
All
Bless
right,
you and your family as well.
Anytime. And I appreciate your coming on. So family, please support them. Go to their channel and subscribe and give likes to those videos, because that helps their ranking. So Israel, look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen.